Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is husband horrors. Also, I've been told a couple of times to ask for height points. I still have yet to figure out what they are. I don't know why it doesn't show up on my end. I think I have to click into a certain part of my analytics, which I will go look at after this episode. But love you guys so much if you give me hype points on YouTube. And if you're on any other platform, just leave me a comment. In this platform, please, everywhere. Every platform that you can leave a comment because I want to talk to you. Anyways, let's get into this episode. The title of the first story is, Am I Overreacting for Getting Upset When My Wife Had Another Man in the Delivery Room? Last month, my 28 male wife, 25 female, called me in a frenzy telling me that her water broke and that she was going into labor. This was incredibly shocking to both of us because she was still early on in the pregnancy. The problem with this is that I was already on the road, about 30 minutes away, tending to my mother, who had just called to tell me that she was in an accident. Not a significant one, but it still shook her up. I told my wife to call an ambulance because I would not be turning around to drive her to the hospital and witness her birth. She yelled, cursed, cried, and screamed at me through the phone while I tried to calm her by telling her to call my sister if she didn't want to call an ambulance, since my sister only lives 20-25 minutes away. After this, she went silent and hung up, and I didn't hear from her for about an hour and a half. I checked my phone for the first time since getting to my mother, and my sister sent me a video of my wife actively giving birth while holding her male friend's hand the way women squeeze their husband's hands for comfort during labor. My sister immediately followed up the video with a text that said, "When are you gonna get here?" I ignored this text and asked her if she's the one who drove my wife to the hospital, and she responded, "No." I asked her who did, and she informed me that it was my wife's male friend, who lives only 10 minutes away, who drove her and was getting his hand squeezed by my wife. I ended up just asking my sister for the full story while I drove my mom back to her home, since everything was sorted with the accident. Long story short, instead of calling my sister or an ambulance, my wife called her male friend that I've always disliked, but never informed my wife. I told my sister to get on FaceTime with me, but not to make it obvious to anyone else in the delivery room, and I would stay silent on the other end. During the call, I saw my wife's friend rubbing her back, wiping her tears, comforting her when she screamed and cried, etc. I couldn't bear the sight, and I ended the FaceTime and told my sister to inform my wife that I would be at the hospital the next day after work when she got out of labor. My sister called almost 2 hours later to tell me she left the hospital and that my wife would be staying the night. The next day, around 3 to 4 p.m., when I went over to the hospital to see my wife and newborn son, she was not trying to hide her anger and saltiness from anyone else in the room. That included mostly my family and some of hers. When I asked her why she was acting this way, she rolled her eyes and told me to leave her the F alone in front of everyone. Later, when I tried to hold my son, she snatched him from my hands. In this hospital, visiting hours ended at 8, but all of the guests, excluding me, left by 6. When we were alone, I finally got the chance to have a conversation with her about why she was being so salty on a memorable day that should have been filled with joy and love. She responded by getting angry and mumbling something about my audacity to miss her birth and be surprised that she's angry. I'm not proud of this, but in response, I called her a cheater for inviting another man into the delivery. Sorry, I'm holding back my laughter this whole time. Sorry, it's not funny. It's just kind of funny because this man is a fucking idiot. For inviting another man into the delivery room in place of her husband. This spiraled into a short, full-blown argument between us that eventually ended with a NICU nurse coming back in with the baby. It's been a month since then, and my wife only refers to our son, her baby, etc. I've tried to get closer to her by sitting down and trying to have a deep conversation about our family's future, and she flat out told me that she was never having another child with me after what happened, which deeply hurt me. Last week, I heard my wife on the phone talking about who would be the godfathers and mothers to our son. She told whoever was on the other end that she would be choosing the male friend as godfather because he was there for me when my husband couldn't care less. This post is all over the place, but let me know if I overreacted in the argument when I saw her in the delivery room after she gave birth, or if anyone knows how to fix my marriage and family. Sorry, this has to be fake, right? This has to be fake. You can't tell me there's a man. No, honestly, why am I giving men so much credit? Like, of course there's a man this delusional, but still this has to be fake. I'm like, literally, I was holding back my laughter. And on the other end of that, also feeling terrible for this wife, obviously, and this mother, because that's terrible. But this man being absolutely, like, what? Does he have rocks in his head? They're just going ding, ding, ding. Like, I'm genuinely so confused by this. Okay. First of all, you're telling me, you're like, I'm not turning around to go get my mom, who is barely injured in an accident, to go see the birth of my son and take my wife to the hospital. I'm going to tell her she needs to call an ambulance instead of just turning around, going to get my wife and telling my mom she needs to call an ambulance instead. Because actually, my son is literally entering the world right now. And then what really made me think that this is fake is the fact that he said, I'll be there tomorrow at 4 p.m. after work. I'll be there tomorrow at 4 p.m. And then he's like, she's holding this guy's hand. Like, why is she holding his hand? And he's wiping her tears and rubbing her back. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because her vagina is ripping in half. Her literal vag is ripping all the way down to her ass. Like, she's birthing a human out of her body. What do you mean? I don't care who. It could be her ex-boyfriend. It could be her ex-boyfriend. I don't care. She's giving birth, sir. She's looking for any comfort possible because her husband, honestly, I would applaud her if she needed someone and she called her ex-boyfriend and was like, honestly, come over, because clearly my husband doesn't give a damn about me. So, like, let's get back together. I would not blame her for that, honestly. Like, I can't believe she put up with you long enough to even have a baby. But also, okay, there's an edit. It says, no, this isn't rage bait. I genuinely need advice. Sorry if the wording made it seem that way. I also didn't know the accident was minor until I arrived. And everyone suggesting we get a divorce doesn't know the meaning and dedication of marriage and family. If you have questions, please message me if you want me to answer. You don't know the dedication of marriage and family. You don't know. What are you talking about? Sorry, I'm crying right now. I need this woman to leave this man. Please leave this man. Okay. There's an update 4 days later. I'm the wife from that post. A friend found it and sent it to me. Still don't get why he didn't post it on a burner account. Anyway, I decided to make an account to respond, clear some things up on my side, and tell my side of the story as briefly as I can. Yes, I did call my husband to tell him that my water broke, and he did tell me that he wouldn't make it and to call an ambulance or his sister, who has called me a slur to my face before, so I don't know why he would even think this would be a good idea. I did not call his sister because we don't get along, and I have a friend that lives closer to us. He ends up driving me to the hospital, and his sister pulls into the lot almost right after us. Don't know how she knew I was going, so now I'm in pain, scared, upset at my husband, and of someone I don't like with me during my most vulnerable moments. I was holding my male friend's hand because why wouldn't I be? Now, it was very obvious that sister-in-law was recording me in some way because she was basically isolating herself from everyone else in the room with her phone to her chest and pointed at me. I didn't think that she was on FaceTime with anyone. I just thought that she was filming me, which is equally as weird. I'm not sure why I brushed it off or didn't ask about it when I was more stable. My husband did in fact show up the next day around 4 p.m. and tried to act like nothing happened, and I was very moody and rude to him, which was probably very immature of me. This later broke out into an argument, and after everyone left, where he called me a cheater, and I also said some very nasty things. I've been isolating me and my son away from him as much as I can and trying to be less dependent on him in some aspects. The reason for this is because I feel that I can't trust him to keep my son safe, or change his diaper, or pour my breast milk into a bottle and feed him, or burp him, or basically do anything for my son at all. It is true that I and my son are financially dependent on my husband, like he has stated before. And because of this fact, I cannot divorce him. Not now, at least, because I do not have any support system or family that lives near us to help me and my son, and I'm still in school. I know staying for the kids isn't healthy, but my family has recommended for me to stay for the sake of my schooling and my son's happiness. My husband had stated many times that he was apologizing, but these quote apologies were just along the lines of, I'm sorry, will you stop being angry now? No, I'm not sleeping with a male friend. We've been friends since second grade, and there's never been anything romantic or sexual between us. Please don't mind my spelling and grammar. English isn't my first language, nor am I from an English-speaking country, and this was also rushed. Feel free to ask any questions because I tend to leave details out. This whole thing feels as unreal as it sounds. Oh my God. Can you just go live with the other guy, please? Can you just go live with the other guy? Like, this guy needs to be jailed. This guy needs to be in prison for just like pure stupidity, honestly. Like, I'm literally sending him to jail. I'm sending him straight to jail. Why? It should be illegal for a person like that to have a child. It really should. Like, you're gonna pass those genes down? Please. Please. I really hope that this baby got mostly the mom's genes. Okay, someone said, I don't understand why he showed up at 4 p.m. the next day. He went to work? Why? No, that's not even the craziest part of this story. He was mad that she dared rely on another man to fill his role, because he prioritized his mother over the birth of his own child. Really wondering why sis couldn't handle the mother non-emergency since she was clearly available to effing film OP's hoo-ha just to cause drama with her idiot brother. You should have kicked that woman out. That woman should have gone, bye-bye, out of the room. Your family is suggesting you stay for your son's happiness from a dad who turned deadbeat from before birth, from a dad who let his slur-hurling sister film your birth, from a dad that abandoned both of you in the most vulnerable, painful, crazy, dangerous, wonderful, life-changing experience. Get yourself and your son out of there. I don't care how far your family is. You're super underreacting here. I feel the same way. I would say all of this, but then at the same time, it's like, it's just not that easy. I feel the same way. Like, I want her to get out of it. I want her to go far away from this man and his family. But, like, it's just not that easy. Someone said, I just can't understand how you think this will work long term. You don't trust him with your child for valid reasons, but realistically, how can this work long term? Him and his family seem awful, and raising your kid in an environment like that is going to cause issues. OP said, I understand what you're saying, and I'm really not sure right now, but I will find a solution that will be best for my son. Yeah. I really hope that she can get away from him. Someone also said, if this is real, divorce is a thing. And then someone commented, I mean, she says right in it that she can't currently because she's in school, away from her family, and financially dependent on him. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, and then someone else said, LOL, if divorce is allowed, because I know some countries or places don't allow divorce. He can get bent. You can protest or drag out a divorce as long as you can, but it does eventually go through. Like, you can't force people to stay married if they don't want to. Oh my God, I really feel so bad for her. Like, yeah, I was laughing because it's like so horrendous and crazy of a story that he was just like spewing as if it was so normal. But at the same time, it's obviously very sad and upsetting that like that this woman is in that position, and I hate that for her, and I really pray and hope for the best for her. I mean, I can't imagine like how stressful that would be to like be relying on a literal caveman for support. Like, she's relying on a literal Neanderthal. Like, he might as well be back in the freaking Stone Age, because he's bing bang bong. That's what's going. Sorry, am I being too much? Bing bang bong. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next story before I go way too hard on that man. But if you know, you know. All right. The title of the next story is Am I the asshole for moving back home after my husband left me even though I'm pregnant? I've been getting cruel messages from my ex, his family, and our friends for the past few days. My soon-to-be ex-husband, Levi, 33 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for a decade, married for 5 years. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby and due next month. After I graduated, I moved back to his hometown, a major city on the West Coast with him. I'm from a bigger city in the Midwest, but loved living out there. I thought we were happy. We planned our baby and we were so excited. But a few weeks ago, he told me he was going to file for divorce. He said he didn't want to be tied down anymore. He was still young and needed to live his life, etc. He said there was nobody else, but I know since then that he's been seeing someone. He wanted me to move out, but this is my house too. I put down the down payment. So he's been staying with his friend Lewis. I can't afford to live here on my own while maintaining my lifestyle. Sure, I could make it work, but it wouldn't be the kind of lifestyle I would want to live, especially with a baby. I make really good money even, but it's so expensive. I have friends for sure, but not the support system that he does. No family here. So I've decided to move back home, and luckily my company has a location in my hometown, so I was able to keep my job. My parents have been so supportive. They're divorced and hate one another, but are now combined in their hatred of Levi, which is interesting to see. They've secured me a nice rental home in my city and refuse to let me pay them back, saying I need to save to buy my next house. They're paying for my divorce lawyer and my co-pays at my new doctor here. They said I'm doing the right thing for my baby and are happy to help. My mom is about to retire and even wants to watch my baby while I work after my maternity leave. So it's been an ideal situation for me. Levi is furious. He's claiming that I moved to get back at him and am going to try to keep him out of our baby's life. I explained very clearly that I couldn't afford to be a single mom in San Diego, but he doesn't believe me. He's told everyone I moved back to get the upper hand on custody. That's not why I moved, but it's definitely a plus. His job doesn't have any locations here, and they won't keep him if he moves. He could get another job here, of course, but he says that's too much to ask of him. I told him I'd be going for child support once the baby is born, and he told me I needed to make up my mind. Could he be a dad or no? I told him he was going to be a dad regardless, and if he doesn't want to move here, then he would be a dad by paying child support. I don't think I'm the asshole. I think what I'm doing is what I have to do, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So all of these people texting and calling me and telling me I'm keeping Levi's baby from him. Info from the comments. Pregnancy. She's 7 months pregnant in San Diego, Southern California, moving to the Midwest. Info about the other girl. She's like 38. I know, not old, but she knew he was married because they worked together. She also congratulated me on my pregnancy and has 3 kids that she doesn't even have full custody of, I found out. Not the asshole. This guy stinks. Literally, like, boo tomatoes. He's stinky. I hate him. Bye. Like, see you, loser. See you later, loser. Whatever. Double loser. Goodbye. I don't know what you want from me. Sorry that you're literally randomly divorcing me while I'm pregnant. Like, what did you think I was going to do? Just be like, okay, yeah, sure. Let me just stay here with no extra support and, like, no family here. What are you, dumb? And also, don't respond to those dumb people either. Don't respond to them. They're obviously, they don't know. They're probably just listening to him, and he's probably telling a different story on his side of things. But at the same time, it's like, if you have any, like, there's a reason that she's keeping her baby, or she's not even keeping her baby from him. It's like she would be fine with him if he wanted to move there and be a dad to the child physically, then she doesn't seem like she has any issue with that. But she obviously has more support, and she's going to be a single mother, so she wants to be supported, and she's moving somewhere that she is actually having support, and her parents are helping her a lot. And I don't really get how you couldn't understand that. All right, this is the update, and it's 6 days later. So first off, I thought I was clear in my first post, but the amount of helpful comments who skipped over the following info was driving me insane. I've already moved back to the Midwest and I already have a lawyer, so no need to tell me to move before my baby is born or to yell at me to get a lawyer. I've done both. A few weeks after moving out, he had filed for divorce in California. Since I was moving and obtaining a lawyer, I had not yet responded. I have an OBGYN here in my hometown and I'm set to give up birth here. I have legal advice from a professional. My ex Levi came to my place like the day after my post. I hadn't been responding to him or his friends or family and had just muted their numbers. I got home and he was talking to my new neighbor who I haven't met yet. I wanted him to stop, so I let him come inside to talk, but also texted my parents what was going on. Basically, he said everything had been a mistake. He didn't think everything through enough, and that he had withdrawn his divorce petition. He said he was fine living in my hometown. He'd need time to find a job, but could work on selling the house back west in the meantime, and work remote until he found a new job. Kind of acting like everything was fine. Very strange, though. Not like he was on drugs. I've seen him on drugs, lol. It's been years, but it wasn't that. I don't know. By the time my dad got there, I was very upset and not thinking clearly. His wife drove me to their house, and he stayed there with Levi for a bit and got him to leave, and he's been at my mom's and won't leave town. I don't want to get too into it. My lawyer was able to confirm that he sort of withdrew the petition, but it was either incomplete or incorrect. His behavior has been odd. Yes, I told them I'm not talking to him unless he gets evaluated. And I don't know if my mom wore him down or what, but he agreed and has been at the hospital all day. My mom's boyfriend has been through a lot of this with his own son and was able to get him into a good hospital, and I hope we know something soon. To be honest, I'm exhausted and overwhelmed. I feel bad saying this, but I didn't want to be dealing with this right now. I have so much going on and had already kind of divorced him and started my life as a single mom in my head. I'm not saying I'm going to stay with him even if this is a health thing. He has crossed so many boundaries and hurt me so bad in just 2 months. But I did make a vow that I take seriously, and before all of this, if I'd told you he'd done any of this, you would think I was insane. So I'm not really sure why I'm posting an update. I'm not religious, but I grew up Catholic, and maybe someone who is reads this and can pray for us, I guess. They'd have a more direct line to the big guy than me right now. I'm not sure what I would pray for. If he's fine, then he's just an asshole, and I'm fine divorcing him. But if it's something more, I'm so overwhelmed at the thought of taking care of both him and a newborn. But it would mean he hasn't been deceiving me all of these years. Sorry, it's not the best update. Okay. Maybe he has a brain tumor that's making him act that way. That's like, I don't know, pressing on a certain part of his brain or something. Edit, I've gotten a few comments and also want to say this. I have his phone. I now know for a fact the woman he was seeing was not the woman I thought. He didn't meet that woman until after he'd filed for divorce and that she still wants to be with him. I'm not saying this changes anything, but people kept bringing that up. Wait, I need another update. That was like such a quick turn of events that I'm like, need to know what was going on, what is actually going on. So the first post was posted 13 days ago, and then the update was posted 7 days ago, but there's no update further than that. Ugh, I'm so annoyed. The top comment says, short of it being a brain tumor, I can't see coming back from this, especially after all of his friends and family piled onto her after he initiated the divorce. You're right, he cheated on her and kicked her out when she was pregnant. OP's family and friends hate him and will not easily forget or forgive, and the trust is gone. I mean, yeah, that's the only time that you would ever be able to forgive someone is if the doctors were genuinely like, this guy actually has a brain tumor that made him make these decisions. That's the only time I would ever think of forgiving this guy, because he clearly is like, I mean, when you think back, like, I mean, people do just leave relationships like this or even marriages like this up and out of the blue without having a brain tumor, obviously. But when you think back to it, I'm sure she was like so shocked and confused because it came out of the blue so quick and like she was so confused. So it would make sense if he like actually was having bad health problems and like that is what the case was, but it would definitely be like an anomaly. Like it's definitely rare to have that happen, right? I mean, I don't think it's that common. Someone said, how did you get his phone? He was staying at your mom's and you're at your dad's. How do you know he doesn't have another phone? Any way you slice it, you seem to be such a decent person. I'm wishing the best for you and your baby, whatever you decide. OP said, they gave it to me after he was admitted. I don't know if he has another phone, I guess, but everything seems to be on here. However, everything goes and whatever you decide. Oh, thank you. I agree. I know everyone is mad. I still care about him, but it's about my baby. And honestly, I think the best thing for baby is having a healthy dad, even if he's an asshole. If something is wrong, I might still leave him, but I'd be supportive of him getting better, and so would my family. I don't know what I want to happen. That must be so much to deal with, especially if he does and like she decided to stay with him and then she has like a baby and she has this guy. I don't know. Now I'm like, I can't really fully say unless like I know what the results of this whole thing is. Like now I'm wondering. I'm so naive as well because I'm like, oh yeah, maybe he has a brain tumor that's making him act that way. But I have read a story on here before where the guy actually did have a brain tumor that made him do something. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I remember that it was like something so out of character and it was like something that ruined their relationship, and then he found out that he had a brain tumor and it was like, wait, that's why he did everything that he did. Someone said his age is also within the window for schizophrenia to develop. And then someone responded and said, if I was OP, I don't feel like schizophrenia would be enough to give this guy a second chance. It would have to be a brain tumor because any psychological condition can become an issue if meds aren't taken properly. I could never trust him to be responsible enough to not repeat the same mistakes. More likely, though, he's just an asshole who has nothing at all wrong with him. He checked into the hospital just to placate her. Placate. Hoping that something will be diagnosed, even if incorrectly, and she will take him back. And then someone said, I clearly need an update on this one. Yeah, same. Clearly, very clearly. It's still ongoing. I'm so sad. But that's all of the stories I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Let me know what you thought, or let me know your predictions. What do you think is happening? Do you think this guy is just like playing her, or do you think that he actually might maybe have a brain tumor? Maybe he saw on Reddit and he was like, oh, this guy had a brain tumor, so I'm going to pretend like I have a brain tumor or something. I don't know. Or maybe he really does, and then maybe I'm going to feel bad for saying that later because it ends up that he actually does have a brain tumor that's affecting the way that he's making decisions, and once he gets it removed, he's back to normal. Maybe. Honestly, I hope, because I would love for OP to... I don't know. She said she didn't even know if she was going to forgive him if that were the case, but, you know, if she did want to forgive him, I would understand if that were the case. That's literally the only way, though, is the brain tumor. But anyways, I love you guys so much, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Love you. Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.